My name is Elena. I understand English when I read or listen. I can follow simple stories and understand people when they speak slowly. But when I try to speak, something strange happens. The words stay in my head, but they do not come out of my mouth. My tongue feels heavy. My lips do not move fast enough. I feel like something is blocking me from speaking. Today in class, our teacher asked each student to stand up and introduce themselves. My heart started to beat fast. I looked at the other students. Some spoke slowly. Some spoke with a big smile. They made small mistakes, but they didn't stop. They just kept talking. I watched them and felt nervous. My turn was coming soon. I wanted to run away. Then the teacher said, "Elena." I stood up. My hands were cold. My mouth opened, but I said nothing. Silence. Everyone looked at me. I felt frozen. The teacher smiled kindly and said, "Go ahead." I took a deep breath. I tried my best. My my name is Elena. That was all I could say. My voice was small and weak. My mind was empty. I forgot everything else. "Thank you, Elena," the teacher said gently and moved on to the next student. I sat down. I felt terrible. I knew more words. I had practiced. But when I had to speak, everything disappeared. After class, I didn't leave. I stayed in the classroom. The teacher was putting her books in her bag. I walked up to her slowly. I felt shy, but I wanted to ask her something. I took a deep breath and said, "I can understand, but I can't speak." She turned to me and nodded. "That's very normal," she said. "Many students feel the same." I looked at her with surprise. "Why is it so hard to speak?" She said, "Because your tongue is not used to English sounds. Speaking is not only about knowing the words, it is also about training your mouth." I blinked. "My tongue?" She smiled. "Yes, speaking is like exercise. You have to train your mouth and tongue, like a dancer trains their legs or a singer trains their voice." This idea was new to me. I always thought my brain was the problem. I thought I was just bad at speaking. But maybe I wasn't. Maybe I just needed practice. The teacher continued, "There's a simple method that can help you. You need to read out loud every day, and you need to practice shadowing." "Shadowing?" I asked. I had never heard that word before. "Come see me after class tomorrow," she said. "I will show you." I nodded. A small light started to grow inside me. Maybe this could help me speak. Maybe there was a way to break the silence. That night, I went home and sat on my bed. I opened my English book. I looked at the first page. The sentences were easy. I had read them before, but this time I tried something new. I read them out loud. "The cat is on the table." My voice was soft. I felt shy, even though I was alone. I read it again. "The cat is on the table." It felt strange. The words didn't sound natural. My tongue moved slowly, but I didn't stop. I read it a third time, a little better. Then I took out my phone. I recorded my voice. I said the same sentence again. I listened to the recording. I didn't like my voice, but I kept at it. I wanted to compare it with my voice in the future. Next, I wrote a short sentence in my notebook. "Today, I felt afraid, but I want to be brave." I read it out loud too. It was a small start, but it felt good. I smiled to myself. Maybe tomorrow I will learn more. Maybe I will find my voice again. The road felt long, but for the first time, I was ready to walk it. The next day, I went to see my teacher after class. She was waiting for me with a small book in her hand. I sat down quietly. My heart was beating fast. I wanted to learn. I wanted to speak English without fear. The teacher gave me the book. She pointed to a sentence on the page. It said, "The cat is on the table." I knew the words. They were easy. She smiled and said, "Read it out loud." I took a deep breath and said, "The cat is on the table." My voice was soft. I felt nervous. "Again," she said. I read the same sentence again. "Again," she repeated. I didn't understand. "But I already read it twice," I said. She smiled. "Yes, but your tongue needs more practice." So I read it again. This time, my voice was a little stronger. My mouth felt slow, but I didn't stop. Then she took out her phone and played an audio. It was a clear voice. The voice said, "The cat is on the table." Now, the teacher said, "You speak with the voice at the same time." I was surprised. "At the same time?" "Yes," she said. "Not after. Together." She played the audio again. I tried to speak with the voice. "The cat is on the table," I said, but I was too slow. "Again?" she said. I tried again. Still too slow. "Again?" I felt a little frustrated. "This is hard." "Yes," she said kindly, "but it works." That night, I sat on my bed with the same book. I read the sentences out loud. I said them slowly. I said them again and again. My mouth felt tired, but I didn't stop. Then I opened my phone. I searched for an English video. I found one about daily life. A woman in the video said, "I woke up at 7 a.m. I tried to speak at the same time. I woke up at 7 a.m. I was too slow. I tried again. Still too slow. I wanted to stop. I thought, maybe I'm not good at English. Maybe I will never speak well." But then I remembered my teacher's words. "Your tongue needs training." So I took a deep breath. I tried again. I repeated the sentence many times. Sometimes I got it right. Sometimes I make mistakes. But I didn't give up. The next morning, I tried something new. While I brushed my teeth, I said, "I brush my teeth." While I made my bed, I said, "I make my bed." While I cooked rice, I said, "I cook rice." It felt strange, but it helped me practice. Usapasie. Later that day, I met Maria, my friend. I had an idea. "Maria," I said, "do you want to go for a walk?" "Yes," she said. Let's go." "But let's do something different," I said. "Let's speak only English during our walk." She looked surprised. "Only English?" "Yes, it's just for fun." "Let's try." We walked in the park. I pointed to a flower. "Look, a red flower." She smiled. "Yes, and a green tree." We laughed. We made a mistake, but we kept going. We called it the English Walk. We did it every week. At home, I made a chart on my wall. Every time I practiced English, I added a star. One star for reading out loud. One star for shadowing. One star for speaking with a friend. The stars made me feel proud. They showed me I was trying. I was growing. I also joined a website for English learners. I wrote about my journey. I said, I was afraid to speak, but now I am learning to train my tongue. Many people replied. They said, me too, or keep going. I felt happy. I was not alone. One day, I went to a small shop. The woman at the counter smiled and said, hello, how are you? I froze for a second, but then I smiled back. I'm fine. Thank you. Four simple words, but they felt big. When I left the shop, I wanted to cry. Not because I was sad, but because I was proud. I spoke English with a real person. Some days were still hard. Some days my voice felt weak again. Some days I made many mistakes, but I kept going. I also started to talk to myself in the mirror. I said, you are learning. You are getting better. I looked into my own eyes. I smiled. I knew something had changed. I was no longer just studying English. I was living it. I was speaking. I was improving. And deep inside, I felt it. Something big was coming. Something that would show me how far I had come. I just had to keep going. One morning, the teacher came into class with a smile. She said, today, we will have a speaking activity. Each student will stand up and talk about their daily routine. My heart started to beat very fast. My hands felt cold. I had been practicing every day. I had read out loud. I had done shadowing. I had spoken with Maria. But now, I had to speak in front of the whole class. I was scared. One by one, the students stood up. Some spoke slowly. Some made mistakes. But they all tried. I watched them and felt nervous. Then the teacher called my name. Elena. I stood up slowly. My legs were shaking. I looked at my classmates. They were quiet. They were looking at me. I wanted to sit down. I wanted to disappear. But then I heard something. It was my own voice in my head. I woke up at 7 a.m. I had said that sentence many times at home. I knew it well. I took a deep breath. I opened my mouth. I wake up at 7 a.m. I brush my teeth. I eat breakfast. I go to school. The words came out one by one. I didn't think about grammar. I didn't translate in my head. I just spoke. My voice was not perfect, but it was strong. When I finished, the class clapped. The teacher smiled and said, great job, Elena. I sat down. I could not believe it. I spoke English in front of everyone. I felt proud. For the first time, I believed that I could really speak English. After class, Maria came to me. She smiled and said, Elena, you spoke so well. Thank you, I said. Then she looked shy. Can you help me? She asked. I was surprised. Help you? She nodded. I can understand English, but I can't speak. I looked at her and remembered myself a few weeks ago. I smiled and said, yes, I will help you. We sat together and I played an English audio on my phone. I said, repeat with the voice. Shadow it. Maria looked elements. Yes, you can, I told her. Try. She started slowly. Her voice was soft. She made mistakes. But I stayed with her. I helped her. Again and again, we practiced. Every day, we worked together. We read out loud. We did shadowing. We laughed when we made mistakes, but we did not stop. One day, Maria came to me with a big smile. She said, Elena, today in class, the teacher asked a question, and I answered in English. I was so happy. You did it. Yes, she said. The words just came out. I felt proud, not just for her, but for both of us. We had done this together. A few days later, the teacher asked to speak with me after class. She said, Elena, I see how much you have improved, and I see how you help Maria. I nodded and smiled. She looked at me kindly. Would you like to help more students? I was quiet for a moment. I thought about my first day when I could not even say my name. Now I am helping others. I took a deep breath. Yes, I said. I want to help. That night, I wrote in my journal, I used to be afraid to speak, but now I speak. And now I help others speak too. I looked at my reflection in the mirror and smiled. I had found my voice, and now it was time to help others find theirs. Elena's story began with fear and silence. She could understand English, but she could not speak. Her words got stuck in her mouth. She felt embarrassed and lost. But everything changed when her teacher gave her hope. Her teacher said something very simple but powerful. Your tongue needs training. From that day, Elena started a new journey. She began reading out loud. She practiced shadowing, speaking with the audio at the same time. She talked to herself while brushing her teeth and making her bed. Slowly, her voice grew stronger. Her confidence grew too. She did not become perfect in one day. She made mistakes. She felt tired. She wanted to quit, but she kept going. And little by little, she changed. One day, she stood in front of the class and spoke with a clear voice. She finally believed in herself. Then something beautiful happened. She helped Maria, her friend, who had the same problem. Together, they practiced and learned. One day, Maria also found her voice. And Elena discovered something even more important. Helping others is one of the best ways to grow. Later, the teacher asked Elena to help more students. She said yes. She became a helper, a guide, and an inspiration for others. Elena's story shows us that even if we are afraid, even if we feel weak, we can grow, we can change, and we can help others do the same. The lesson from Elena's story is simple. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start now. Speak. Read out loud. Shadow English speakers. Talk to yourself. Make mistakes. Laugh. Try again. Your tongue is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. You are not bad at English. You are just not trained yet. And that's okay. You are learning. Now look at you. You listened to Elena's whole story. That means you improved your English listening and understanding. Be proud of yourself. You are on your own journey, just like Elena. Keep going. You are doing great. Here's a small question for you. Let's see how well you remember. What helped Elena speak better? A. Reading grammar books silently. B. Reading out loud and shadowing every day. Write your answer in the comments. A or B. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us make more stories like this. Every subscribe gives us motivation to continue creating free, high quality content for English learners like you. Also, if you love what we do and want to help, consider donating. We are working hard with limited resources, and your donation will help us keep going and improve even more. We do this for free to help you learn English. Thank you for listening. And remember, you can speak English. Just keep practicing.